Very
Hi,
interesting.
everyone. Welcome. I'm Ellie Wyndham, the founder and program manager for Walking in Other People's Shoes. I'm based in Union City, New Jersey, and Walking Other People's Shoes strives to empower women of color voices by providing transformative experiences through storytelling and community. I'm happy that you could join us for tonight for our Multicultural Children's Book Club. We have this monthly book talk. It's free every month. And, I just want to introduce you to our two facilitators. Mia Wen-Chen is the facilitator for our book club, and she's also a blogger for parenting, children's books, and education at pragmaticmom.com. And she's also the co-creator for Multicultural Children's Book Day. It's a nonprofit celebrating diversity in children's books, and she's based in the Boston area. And then we have Ruth Perez, who just recently joined us, and she's our activities facilitator. She's a sophomore at Lehman College, and she's pursuing a bachelor's in speech pathology and audiology. And then she followed by a master's in speech pathology. So these degrees will allow her to continue to work in schools, providing extra support and speech to students with special needs. So I'm going to hand it off to Mia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for coming. I'm really excited because April is Autism Awareness Month. And if you are interested in learning more, we have a whole month of programming over at Multicultural Children's Book Day. .com, that website. We have a month of blog posts. We have IG lives every Wednesday at 3:00, featuring own voices, autism authors with interviewers. And we have a giveaway on Instagram on the 10th. And so I thought I'd carry over Autism Awareness Month for our book club. And I'm excited because we have Sivan Hong. She's the author and illustrator of a series of books. We're going to be using her latest book that just came out, Avery G and the Scary End of School. But her other books are George J and the Miserable Monday, Benny J and the Horrible Halloween, Emily D and the Fearful First Day. And this is a picture book series called the Super Fun Book Day. It has a neurodiversity theme. The author Sivan Hong, who is also the illustrator, is herself neurodiverse, and her two sons are neurodiverse. And so she brings a lot of firsthand experience. And the series, what I really love about it, it's not necessarily just for someone who is neurodiverse or learning about someone who's neurodiverse, because it's really about problem solving. And so in each of these books, there's a character who has a problem, an issue that I think any kid can relate to. Doesn't have to be neurodiverse. And then she follows the same format. So the child is able to articulate 5 reasons why this particular problem seems very big and overwhelming. And I think in just being able to articulate, that's like a life skill, to say like, oh my God, I'm really stressed. And let me like break it down into smaller pieces. And then we have the solution. So we have sort of the problem broken down to 5 pieces, and then we have solution. And here you have sort of an adult perspective, like an adult intervention, working with a child to come up with 5 very reasonable and often creative solutions to each problem. And I think this whole like problem solution, it reminds me a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is, like a therapy practice that is, I find like widely popular and successful. Like when my kids are in therapy, like that seems to be the one that works the best. And I find the whole thing to be actually also super empowering, because not only is the child able to articulate, okay, this is something that I'm, like very nervous about. And then breaking it down, that child is empowered to say like, okay, I can name what is making me scared or nervous or whatever. And then in the solutions, the child and the parent can work together, and not just the parent, but like any adult, to say like, here are solutions, and the whole group can say like, okay, that makes sense. I like that makes sense. And then they can actually do that. And then when they go through the whole thing, they find out, what do you know? It wasn't as bad as I thought. And that's like something you see in life for everyone, whether they do a sport, whether they do like an activity like learning an instrument or learning a foreign language or learning how to dance. It's just like a life skill to say like, oh my God, something is really making me nervous or stressed, and let me articulate it, and then let me break it down so I'm not overwhelmed, and then let me brainstorm solutions. I think some of the solutions are incredibly creative, that parents can use just, for any kind of problem, not necessarily this situation, or if you have a neurodiverse. So anyway, that's kind of like, I've read all of these books, and each time I find it so well crafted problem solution, and also like such good solutions just as a parent. And so what I like to do is read pages of the book. Okay, I'm going to start. So this is the newest book, and Avery G. and the Scary End of School. And also, like, I find it really interesting because like everyone thinks, oh, end of school, hooray, hooray, no more school, school's out. And you know what? That can be a reaction, but that isn't always, for anyone, neurodiverse or otherwise, that isn't always necessarily how every child feels. And in this case, Avery is feeling apprehensive that school is ending because she loves school. And lots of kids love school, especially for this reading age. So let's learn about Avery G. Hi, my name is Avery G. I love dancing, building Legos, and my new kitten, Barry. And when you see the illustrations, the author illustrator Sivan has deliberately made them very simple, because in a neurodiverse world, sometimes having too many details can be very distracting. And so she's deliberately made it so that you can kind of concentrate on the message of each page. And so that was like a deliberate decision. And I think that works really well. Okay, so here she's thinking, summer vacation is about to begin. All the kids are talking about how much they are looking forward to summer. Everyone but me. So when I think about school ending, I get a bad feeling in my belly. I don't understand why everyone is so excited. I don't want anything to change. I like things just the way they are. And so here are my top 5 reasons why I feel worried when I think about the end of school. And good for Avery. She's got a 5 list. Like she has it all written out. Like she knows her own self. Okay, first one is I know my schedule. I know what time I have lunch and what days I have PE and art. Having a schedule helps me feel relaxed. I don't have a schedule in the summer. And that's true. I think everyone, adults included, we don't really like the unknown. So we like having routines. We like knowing what to expect. We don't like surprises. So I think we can all relate to this all of a sudden losing the structure in our life. Number 2, I think my teacher, Miss Jess, is really, really nice. I don't want to have a new teacher next year. And again, I think like that's a really common reaction if you have a really great teacher. It's like a loss, right? You're not going to see your teacher every day. I mean, Avery has very legit reasons. Like I can totally relate to her. I'd be like, oh my God, as a parent, I would be like, oh my God, we had the best kindergarten teacher ever. No one will be as good as her for my child. I mean, like, I wish we could stay in her class forever. Like how many times have I said that? I've said that a lot to shout out to Miss Crovo. Number 3, I will miss my classmates over the summer. What if no one remembers me next year and I will have to make all new friends? And I mean, and that's also like the reality, because a lot of times you get a new class with a different mix of kids, and sometimes you get your closest friends or one of them, and sometimes you don't. And that whole change can be very, very scary, especially if you have like the perfect situation where you have this great group of friends. So I can totally relate. Okay, so she has 2 more reasons. And then, she is able to tell her parents. And her parents are also, I would say, kudos to the parents for noticing that Avery G is a little bit upset and for being able to talk to her and have her be able to tell them. So my parents come to talk to me before school. They have a plan for how to be less worried about the end of school. I really like plans. And here they have the plan. And so the first solution, my parents shared with me a schedule they made for the summer. It showed me which days I will be going to camp, which days I will be visiting my grandmother, and which days I will be going to the beach. I can even see what day school will start again. I love having a summer schedule. And like what? That's not so hard to do. And really, as a parent too, don't we want to know how we are going to entertain our little ones? And a schedule is super helpful. And, and also, what a fun schedule. Beach, camp, 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 visit grandma, beach, back to school. Problem number 2, let's find that solution. And this one I thought was particularly clever, because sometimes, like for our school, when all the kids changed, like not grades but schools, like when the elementary school moves up to the middle school, and when our middle school moves up to the high school, we have what's called a step up day, and like the entire class will go to the new school, and they'll have a whole like introduction, like they'll clear out all the students in that school, like those kids get the day off, so it's empty, so it's less scary. And then they have a whole like series of like walking you through and showing you the school and having you meet teachers, and they call it step up day. And they do it before the school year ends, and it really does help calm the nerves for everyone going to a new school. And so Sivan is taking that same idea, but doing it grade to grade, which I also think is like, that's just a really smart solution. And I think if any parent goes to a teacher and says that, I think teachers are really accommodating for that. So my teacher, Miss Jess, brought me to see Miss Abby, who teaches in the grade above mine. Miss Abby is also really, really nice. She showed me around her classroom, and I was even able to see the class schedule. Miss Abby's classroom did not feel very different from my classroom. It even had some wobble chairs that I can use next year. And so here you see the wobble chairs, and that's sort of a nod to the neurodiversity theme in the book. But it also shows like the sensitivity, like that's going to make Avery feel better to know that, maybe there's something new and cool for her to have in this new grade, that she didn't have in her previous grade. And I think just seeing the setup and getting excited, I mean, teachers, I feel like, put so much effort into making their rooms inviting. And I think that's awesome that, she's able to, the teachers are able to accommodate that and give her the time and make her feel comfortable. Yeah, I feel like that, wouldn't that be so great if every grade did that for every child? Because I just think every child would benefit from it. And so her third one is missing her friends, which is totally legit, because a lot of times for the summer, everyone does something different. And, that whole group is, your whole group is no longer, you don't see them every day. And so here again, parental, brainstorming, parental intervention, and just makes a lot of sense for any parent. But in this case, this is like, this is a mom who's really on top of it, or dad, or a guardian. So my mom talked to other parents from my class. They decided to set up a few class play dates at the school playground over the summer. I feel much better knowing that I will get to see my classmates this summer. My dad put my class play dates on my summer schedule. So she gets a beach camp play date, camp play date, camp visit grandma, beach play date, back to school. And, I know for like our middle school, when the sixth graders are coming in, they do like this ice cream social. So they meet at the very end of the summer and they just bust out all these huge cartons of ice cream and the kids just sort of play on the playground. And that's sort of a way for, kind of to reconnect with your friends. But I really like this idea of a class play date where no one is excluded. And I think that's really important. And that anyone who's around can show up. And it's just, because also you don't really know who you'll end up in your class, in the coming fall. And I just think like for the mom to express it as a class play date, again, all kids are going to benefit, from seeing their friends. And then I just thought like, that's a really great idea. And just even like sharing that idea of any reader, parent, guardian, we're reading and go, oh, hey, that's a good idea. I should just do that. My kid isn't necessarily feeling anxious at this particular second, but the anxieties will trickle up in different ways over the course of the summer, no matter if they are typical or neurodiverse. And also that's just fun, right? That's just a fun way to sort of get kids excited about school. Okay, so the very end is my summer schedule says that today we're going to the beach. It's going to be a super fun day, a really, really super fun day. And I'm actually going a little bit over, so I'm going to quickly say that my giveaway is not a snack this time because we are celebrating neurodiversity. So it is an entire box full of fidgets, all kinds of fidgets. Some are multiples with different colors, but it's, and also I have to say, my kids are typical, neurodiverse typical, but they love fidgets. And so this is also a great gift or toy for anyone. And there's so many that you can share with friends or with parents or, or just have variety.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Let me just say I truly love this book. When I was reading it, I felt like I could relate to it so much because it just takes life's problems and it helps you break it down. So that's why it gave me this idea of creating a routine. So for this activity, what we're gonna need 2 blank white papers and pen or pencil of your choice. If you want a pen, use a pen. If you want a pencil, use a pencil, and then some crayons. So the first step of activity today is to just think of a routine that we have in our day today. What I love to use routines for is they give me peace, tranquility, right? It's like having those problems in your life and it kind of just helps you avoid them. An example would be my morning routine. If I don't have my morning routine, I am anxious. I will not have a good day. I'll forget some schoolwork at home and I'm gonna be maybe hangry or just stressed out, right? So what I do in the morning when I wake up is I usually wake up, I pray, read my Bible, take a quick shower and eat some breakfast. Really important part of my day for me. And once I do those steps in my day, it just helps make sure that I'm ready for the rest of my day. So what I want us to do is to just take a few minutes to write down a routine that's really helpful in our lives, that helps us avoid stress, that helps us feel relaxed. And yeah, that's the first step. So once everyone's done, if they could just put it in the chat and then we'll go on to the next part of our activity.
Oh, I just want to share some of the comments. And Danielle is sharing her routine. Every day, I need to wake up at the same time, run another runner, coffee, stretching, strength training, and shower before healthy breakfast. Wow, that is a really healthy routine. Mine is much less impressive. I think I wake up, I lie around in bed, I check my phone, and I do social media, maybe too much.
Let me just say, it can be any routine. It can be a nighttime routine. It can be a routine when in your work schedule. It can be any routine if anybody wants to go ahead and share.
I think my routines all have Twitter, way too much Twitter in it. And here I am telling my kids to stay off screens.
Before the race is the night before, actually lay out everything I need and just think through what my day would look like the next day. And sometimes when I need to go like run to another city, like in another city, I'll do a packing list. And then that helps me to know what I'm packing. And now I got these packing bags, so I can actually pack everything that I need in different times of the trip. So I will never forget where I put things. Like this is race day set of clothing. This is what I want to wear after. So, and each bag has a purpose. So I like to divide and organize that way.
Crystal says, I've been going to the gym 3 days a week after work, and sometimes even the weekends. It's my first time having a gym membership, and I actually look forward to it every time. That's, I mean, like, I think it's so important to have a healthy routine. And like when you incorporate exercise into it, it's, I mean, otherwise, like, how will it get done? You know, I think that's wonderful. Everyone has, well, you guys are all runners. I am personally not a runner, but I think I admire runners. Danielle says, I check the weather and prep clothing for my run the next day.
Sivan, I have a question. Is there a routine that you have in your life that's really helpful for you?
I don't know if it's a routine per se, but what I do is every time I get an email that I need to respond to, I leave it in my inbox. And by the end of the day, my inbox is empty. I'm one of those really disturbed people who needs an empty inbox to go to sleep. So that's as close to like my way of getting stuff done and making sure that I feel like I'm in a safe space when I go to bed at night.
Well, I admire that with my hundreds of unanswered emails that stress me out.
So for the second part of our activity, I just want everyone to choose one part from the routine. For example, Sivan, yours is checking your email. That's a routine that you have in your day. So maybe you could draw yourself checking your email at some point of the day. Or Ellie, maybe you running in the morning, or Danielle, you eating a healthy breakfast. So just drawing out that part of a routine that's going to be on our second piece of paper, which we can use our crayons for. Like I said, not the best drawer. I have my stick drawing. But my favorite part of my day is breakfast. I am a foodie. And like I said, I will get hangry if I do not have my breakfast. Like, I'm the person you will hear their stomach grumbling on the train if I don't get my breakfast in. I like eating some healthy, nutritious breakfast, usually some fruits, some chia seeds in there, some berries and bananas, taking my vitamins. And I just like to, maybe 15-20 minutes to have my breakfast. It's like a time of the day for me to just kind of relax and say, okay, Ruth, time to get prepared for the day. So yeah, who wants to go next?
I'll go. I did my little empty inbox.
Very nice.
Yeah, iPad's awesome.
Oh wow, that's
wow.
awesome.
Goodness.
Oh, I love it.
So it's just me like, oh, whoops. Like after I finish a workout and I feel happy with myself, it's just me standing, I guess, in my workout gear. And I love eating salads, so I drew a salad.
You even use color.
So,
That's a really nice salad. That looks really pretty.
It does.
Thank you. But I feel really satisfied when I eat like a big salad and I work out on the same day. Like I feel good.
So now let's bring on Sivan Hong, author and illustrator. And really we just love to chat with the author illustrator to get the story behind the story, what made you want to write your own books, and what made you want to be the author, the illustrator, and publisher, and how many books in the series, and what made you pick these topics. We have all kinds of questions, so just feel free to let us know what you think.
So the books are all true stories. So I didn't come up with the problems. Those were actually problems that my kids have identified going through those specific circumstances. I changed up the characters because I didn't want to depict all neurodivergent kids as being boys, because that's the traditional kind of Hollywood depiction of what a neurodiverse child looks like, or is usually a white male or a white boy. And so it was important for me to make sure that I had my protagonists represent a variety of different races and genders, so that kids could relate to them and not just see kind of one kid going through all of these different stories. So aside from the character, everything is a true story in those books. And I would brainstorm with the teachers and special ed teachers and the school psychologists on figuring out ways to address those challenges. And so the solutions that you see in the book are real solutions that my kids did with the school and with me. And as a way of saying thank you to those teachers, every teacher that I name in those books is a real teacher. So Miss Jess is a preschool teacher, and Miss Abby is a second grade teacher. And all of those teachers are people who have had a huge impact on the lives of my kids. So that's my little shout out to them to say thank you. And I was inspired to write and illustrate the books because when my kids were first diagnosed, there were very few books that were like this out there, that I could show them other kids feeling the way they felt and doing some of the things they did. And as you guys all know, books are a great way to normalize experiences and make kids feel less strange and different and more normal, whatever that means. And so it was important for me to start creating those kinds of books so that other parents and teachers could share them with their students. And I think the best example I have of this is in my first book, Benny J and the Horrible Halloween. It shows him wearing headphones in one of the illustrations. And both my sons at different times wear headphones in the classroom for sensory issues. And I have yet to see another children's book that depicts a child wearing headphones, which is really important because being able to show that somebody else is doing that to your kid makes it less weird that they're doing it. And it's great to show other kids in the classroom a story with a kid wearing headphones, because then it won't be so strange that that other kid sitting in the corner is wearing headphones. And so really having these sorts of examples were important to me. Mia, you talked earlier about the structure being of the books being like, here are the challenges that the child faces and here are the solutions. It's actually a tool that's used in special education called the social story. And usually it's one piece of paper that's like, here are all the things that you're worried about and here are all the things that you can do to help yourself, as a child. And the teacher or the parent will walk through it with them. And I created a whole bunch of these stories when my kids were younger to help them get through certain situations like the dentist or getting their hair cut or things like that. And so I just created that structure into a story. So it wasn't just like a one-page handout, but it was something that kids could then connect with in a more personal way. So that was kind of the impetus around why I wrote the books. In terms of the illustrations and publishing it myself, for me, I wasn't sure if I could find a publisher who would understand that I wanted really, really simple illustrations. And so I just did that myself. Or that all of my books, the font is dyslexic friendly, because I wanted kids with dyslexia or types of kind of dyslexia could follow along with the stories. And maybe there is a publisher out there that is like, yeah, I get that, that's important, but I know that it's hard to publish a book of any kind. And then having those kinds of limitations to the kind of thing that I wanted to make sure was out there, I thought was going to be too hard or would take too long. So I took it upon myself to do it, and I'm glad that I did.
I have a question about how difficult was it for your children to articulate what they felt stressed about in, like, very neat, 5 reasons? Like, how hard was it to extract, these are the concerns?
I think it took months. Right in the story, like the characters have
Like,
them
boom.
because,
Yeah.
but that's not realistic. And by reading the stories to a child, the child can then be like, yes, that's what I'm feeling, right? It will help that conversation come a lot faster, because every child isn't going to feel every one of those things. But I think a lot of children will feel a lot of those things, and it can then open the conversation to say, what else is bothering you? What else can we work on? How else can we brainstorm this? And so, yes, it seems instantaneous in the story, but it takes a while. And when I write the books, my kids are included in the writing process, because it really does need to reflect the way they felt. And I kind of gut check it with them. And I'm like, is this how you were feeling? Did I miss anything? Or am I not depicting something the right way? And they are part of that process to say, no, this is what it feels like, or this is why I was feeling this way, and this is what matters. So they are very much involved in that. They also get to kind of pick the names of all the characters, and all the kids that you see in the book are oftentimes names of their friends. And they're big basketball fans. So a lot of the boys in the book have different jerseys of the kids, of the players that my kids love, because they are so much a part of the process of designing and creating these books.
Oh, I loved hearing about the Easter eggs, but I feel like the being stressed about a problem and then being able to articulate it, you're giving us the bridge, kind of like the magical bridge that is very hard to extract, all the different feelings and how to articulate it. And I think, like, that's the key, I don't know, takeaway, like, as a, just as a problem solving solution, is to say, okay, we all feel stressed, but like what is that, and can we break it down? And that's a really great life skill, and you're really modeling it for all of us.
I can't tell you how many times, I mean, the example that comes to mind is the Halloween parade, the first book, when my son was in kindergarten and he was all dressed up, ready to go to the Halloween parade. And then he wouldn't get out of the car to go to school. And we sat in the car for, I don't know how long, for me trying to get him to go into school, because Halloween is supposed to be this magical fun day and it's going to be great and there's going to be a parade, and he refused to go, and he did not go. And it was months before I understood the levers of what was driving that fear for him, because in my mind, Halloween's fun, so it's supposed to be fun for him. And I felt like such a failure as a parent for not being able to connect those dots in real time. I was able to connect those dots over a couple of months, so that the following year, when it was time for the Halloween parade, I had all those things in place so that he was able to go, and then he had a great time and he loved it. But so what's happening in that book actually happened over a year, right? Realistically, between one Halloween parade of when he refused to go until the second Halloween parade, where then we had all of the accommodations for him in place for it to be successful.
I mean, and it's really a gift because what you're giving is real life trial and error. And you're just giving us like the cheat sheet to quickly to the solutions. And so other parents who read it, even without neurodiverse kids, can be like, okay, problem, here's possible solutions, boom, boom, boom. Now you have choices. It's easier for you to say yes to this, no to that. And then boom, we got solutions. We don't have to like meet with, all these, adults in the school or in other places. We have, it's just really like a gift of the pain that you went through to say like, you don't have to go through it. I did it for you. I'm sharing.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I get a lot of great feedback from parents saying that exact message, Mia, and more importantly, from kids who will look at the story and point to it and be like, that's how I'm feeling. And I hear it from the parents that the kids like, yes, I identify with this character. And to me, that's kind of the magic bullet, because then they don't feel like they're the only ones in the world who have this feeling. It legitimizes their emotions, and then they can then work with them, right?
And they feel seen and they feel heard.
Yeah.
And they feel like it must be important. It's published in a book. I mean, a book is sort of like super official, So I think Danielle would like to share wonderful tools inside these books. And I actually think that's like sort of the most remarkable piece of it is one, you articulate and break down the problems, but I think some of your solutions are just incredibly creative and helpful for anyone, and can be applied outside the classroom. Like you have an issue on a sports team, you have an issue where a kid no longer enjoys their activity, whether it's dance or music or art or whatever. So I just think, we all can learn as parents or even apply that as adults. So what's next for you, Sivan? Do you have other books in the series you're thinking about bringing out?
I do. I just launched this one and I'm trying to give it time to kind of seep in my head. That was the one I launched last summer, Mia.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. But yes, that one about the end of the school year. But I am working on one that has to do with the holiday season, because holidays are another place where change is hard and things are overwhelming. And so that's where my head is at for the next one.
And when do you think
I have a laundry list of them.
When do you think that will come out?
I'm not
November?
sure yet. Yeah, maybe in time or maybe next year. I want to make sure I get it right because it's a really tough, complicated set of emotions that happen during that time.
And do you feel like you have many more after that?
I do. I have a lot because, again, all of the stories that I used for my kids, I'm just recreating in the form of a book. So they're written in some ways already, but I just need to pull the story out around them. So
many, many different scenarios and situations. Well, that's wonderful. It's lucky for all of us.
But I love the series. I hope you guys really check out the other books, share, her social media, follow her on her Instagram, also with us as well. So,
request them at your library, suggest them to teachers, to parents, people who could benefit. Because this is very much, when you're a small publisher, it's very much a word of mouth. And if you could leave a review on Amazon or Goodreads, all those things that seem very little help an author so much. So
I also have free teachers guides on my website for any teacher. So it's a lesson plan that was designed by a school psychologist and an elementary school teacher that's been tested in the classroom with kids for each one of my books. So if teachers want to use it, it's free on my website.
And then I just would like to mention the giveaway is all 4 books. I've had all 4 and I've read them and I have really enjoyed them. So it's all 4 books plus the big box of fidgets.
Our wonderful winner tonight will be Danielle.
Yay!
Yay!
And Ruth wanted to share, says that I will share these with the teachers I work with. So thank you already.
I'm really happy that you all came, and I hope you guys come back for next month, and we'll have the sign up is already on the website. So check us out on our Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, and walking other people's shoes, and stay in touch with us.